Alright, we're here. Long anticipated modding video for the Stax 207s. Here are the ear speakers. Here are the little protective covers for them. And you'll note that the pads are now torn off. Now, I say torn because these are adhered with glue. A really, I would call it a terrible glue, but it's actually pretty amazing. If I could find a bottle of it, I'd buy it. And these were just stuck on here, and you've got to just peel them off slowly without breaking anything. I would tell you to remove the cups like this from this, but I actually snapped one of the pegs off as I did it. So, my bad. Luckily, that what is left on that peg actually still fits in the hole, and it doesn't actually affect it from falling off or anything. So I lucked out big time. So if you're going to remove this, like I did in the video, in the review, just be real careful that you don't like pull one end and lift. It'll just snap the other end. Bad news. So here are the little pads. Again, flat, vinyl, just, people say they break in. Well, they're going to break in and not get any thicker. So here's what I'm replacing it with. And you could actually look, and the hole is identical. This is a ZMF lambskin, and I have all three varieties of the ZMF pads. There's a cowhide, lambskin, and protein leather. So this is like the middle ground. This is not the softest, but not the firmest, and it's the best one. It's the best feeling. It's the best for a little bit of more stiffness. Memory foam, beautifully made. Link to that in the description. And you see the hole is the same size. So automatically that's like brain one choice. Now, when I was testing with this, and I was pad swapping these, I was just taking these and just, do you see this goop around here? Like it looks like it's got cancer? Some terrible sort of disease? Well, that's the leftover of this glue. So you're gonna peel these off, and it's gonna leave half the glue there and put half the glue there, and it's gonna be a disgusting mess. And that was great for my scenario where I was testing, because I was just doing that. And it was staying there. And honestly, that is an option for you, ladies and gentlemen. You can just peel those off and adhere like another pad. But that's a little bit ghetto, just a little too ghetto, especially if you know people with 3D printers. So, here is a proper 3D printed. This is, you know, when people ask me what do I want to do with a 3D printer, I can never get what it is. But this is a perfect example. The guy did 8 revisions. Talon 64, the guy who set up the Argons, the guy who printed out the crazy boob cups for the Ship 9500s. He's like, I could probably make those. Give me the dimensions. So here's a final product. This is revision 8, and here's revision 7 and 6. Revision 6 had a ton more holes, and it was warping, and he was, you know, he did this many revisions because he wants to get it right. And basically, this compensates for the offset, and it compensates for needing the hole, like I said, the base hole, which people say it will just kill you with mid-base, and remove the sub-base, but I don't know. I've done testing, and I like it way better with a little bit of vent. So these 4 vents are just big enough to vent, and I've actually pulled this off, and I filled these with putty and put them back, and they tested again. So the 4, not the 8 was too many, but the 4 is perfect. And basically, this is just gonna fit like, where is it? That. And you can see it just lines up right around there. It's just there you go. It's there you go. And it's actually staying on because goo. Disgusting Japanese goo. I've seen enough hentai to know probably what that's made out of, so I don't even want to question it anymore. But let's make these stick a little more permanently. Now, I was gonna use this 3M crazy adhesive tape. You all know this stuff with the red. Alright? This is the permanent stuff. This particular one is for sticking trim pieces on cars. So you could drive 100 miles an hour and in the sun and the rain. So this is permanent. And the thing about 3D printed stuff is it's probably, well, actually it is very fragile. In fact, one of these got a little, yeah, like a little wonky on me when I was trying to bend it. So if I ever wanted to remove these for whatever reason, to try another revision, this tape, which will be permanent, probably better because it's a little thicker, it's probably not going to be what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this stuff. This is Scotch permanent double-sided tape, and it's basically just Scotch tape that's sticky on both sides. And I'm going to actually attach it to this side. And I didn't do this and undo it, so this is the first time. Right there. Yeah. Yeah. Should I edit this out? Or should I just keep going? Make sure you get lots of fingerprints on this for future identification. Two. Inside joke between me and that Japanese guy. I'm just going around the outside. Now, I brought out the Goo Gone and the rubbing alcohol to try to clean this goop off and make it nice and clean. Forget about it. Forget about it, ladies and gentlemen. You could take the alcohol. First of all, couple notes, because you're all watching this video. If you bought the Stax and you bought the transformer that was in the description, you're fine. But if that transformer was not in stock and you went looking elsewhere for it, be very careful, because I thought I mentioned it in the review, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the review, that the reason that was a special site to order that transformer was because the positive and negative on the plugs themselves here is reversed. So normally it's positive on the center and negative on the outside. And on Stax amps, it's the reverse. It's positive on the outside, negative on the center. So if you plug the wrong type of transformer into your Stax amp no longer works. Because apparently there's no diode in here to protect it. So that's issue number one. Number two is there is actually 500 volts in this. This is why this is pro only. Someone to explain that to me. The older Stax amps were only 240 volts. These new ones are 580 volts. Lots of volts. And it says pro only, so you know to only plug the newer Stax in there. Because you could run new Stax in old amps, they're just not as quiet or as good, but you can't run old Stax in new amps because they use the same connector. We all learned something today. I need to put this on the right orientation. Give me a second. No, I actually, for shits and giggles, have reversed the cup. It's usually fat part front, so this would be the left side. And then that would make this that way. But because I didn't like the fat part front, and because these are symmetrical this way, I moved it to this side. And all that means is I have to reverse left and right. And this is just me, you don't have to do it. But I reversed the left and right inputs on this, and now I have this ear speaker on the right, so it actually has like a shape to it. And that would mean putting, well actually wait, is this one? It's that one. Put it on this one. So there, wedge forward. And now I've cleaned this off best I could with just alcohol. And the reason I would mention that went to the 500 volts thing is don't do this plugged in, and don't get anything in here wet. And it's not, yes, you can get shocked from the Stax, but it's more important that liquid not touch the membrane. Remember the membrane we talked about that was charged? There's a coating on that membrane that liquids wash away. And when there's no coating on that membrane, the membrane doesn't do shit, and your Stax are fucked. So. Boom. Yeah, that should be enough to get me through. I'm taking these to a one of the headphone shows. That's it. I'm going to, you know what, I'll put this on. Now, since this is now the left side, if you look at this, that says right, that says left. This is the side I broke the thing off of, which actually should make it a lot easier to attach this. There's no chance of breaking it off again. Although I could break this side off. And now we just go. Okay. Now one of the things that's going to happen, now it had him make the 3D printed adapters so that they're narrow, because they're actually, the pads are wider than the adapter. So it'll still spin like that, but it won't want you to put the pads on. I mean, it could, but it's like a real close tolerance all around. The pad goes on pretty much the same as any other pad. In this case, bottom first. And then you get your thumb inside. And I really should have done this without the thing attached, but I wanted to show that first. And you just rub it over the top. Yeah, everything's good. And there you go. That's it. Lambskin Stax. Look how big that is. Oh. And I've had him design this to be longer than standard, so it actually does stretch those pads out to almost, it pretty much matches the Stax. Like, it's exactly the same size as the Stax ear speaker. Gonna pause the video now, tape up this side, attach this other one, which just has to be attached, and then I'll come back with some final thoughts. Let that sit on its pressure points, adhere that double stick a little better. Now again, I would have used the red stuff had I not wanted to prototype other ones, but whatever link is in the description if you wanted to buy these adapters, you can. Just be real careful when you put everything back together, because again, this is fragile stuff. Now, the negative about doing this sort of mod is that since there is a bias up, the hole is actually higher up on the things, and putting the pads higher up, it means basically the center of the headphone moves up. So if you've got a big head, if you usually have to pull things way down, this may not work for you, or you're gonna have to just put the adapters on upside down, and I don't think it'll affect the sound too badly, but it will lower the pads down. So right now the pads are up, and I can't even get it on top of my head fit right with the GoPro strap above my head. So this is maximum height, and that's maximum there. By the way, look at those. I know they look insanely retarded, but that doesn't matter. Some of the most amazing people I know are insanely retarded. Now, the 207 Ultras here. Did I do it just for comfort? Well, initially that's why I did this. That's why I just started popping pads, because those pads are in, I would say they're insufferable, but it sounds so good to most people don't even like pay attention. But I've got quite a job here with, oh look at that mess, headphones, and I need comfort, especially on these, especially if I'm going to be sitting here for hours just enjoying them. So this was initially a comfort mod. And then once it became a 3D printed thing and I could have these spaces and channels put in there, well, that removed the need to do the straw mod. When I was doing it just the pads, I actually took a piece of, did I have it here? Yes, I do. I think this is a Wendy's straw. Like, there's a clear Wendy's straw. I cut an inch of it out, I flattened it a bit and just shoved it behind the pad. And what that did is it broke the seal, which meant no crunch crunch, but it also basically unleashes the bass. Now, whether you gotta like it or not, if you're doing just a straw mod and sticking it to the remnant glue, you could find out. If you're getting these though, you could try them with the vents, the 4 vents. If you don't like that, you got some blue tack, you know, the stuff for putting posters up the wall. You make little balls, you fill them in here, and then you do the same thing and apply it, and that'll just be sealed, just like stock. How does the sound change? All right, I said I originally did it for comfort. Well, guess what? Take the Stax review that you've all watched, and you know how I feel about the Stax, and now add soundstage to that, because you're adding a significant amount of width. Significant amount of width. And that's the end times for me, right? These are my end game before that. Guess what they are now? They are, having tried the 007s, the Mark II 007s, which some people say are shit, and so it doesn't matter. I don't know how the 009s, which are the top of the line, $3,500 just for these Stax, could beat these Stax with this mod. Yes, of course it's ugly. And no, you don't need the 3D printed adapters, but I know you people, you're all completionists just like I am, and that is way more pro than having like a goopy mess that just holds the pads in place. This is now the end of days. I will do no more modding to it. I was going to remove the cables, and he's like, it's 580 volts, you may want to not. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm happy with the cable's fine. It says right and left because I reversed this. It's just, I can't wait to blow minds with this. So I guarantee you, every headphone event you've ever been to, no one's had the lower end Stax with just massive lambskin pads. And look how well they fit. I mean, they don't fit. There's the corners are out, but who cares? This is one of those mods that's like, first of all, if you're buying Stax, they don't exactly look pretty. So you have to be already past the point of like, oh, but they're so ugly. Make them uglier. This is uglier. Also, I should have realized in my review before I said it that when you shut everything off, the charge goes away after a while. So just like warming up a tube amp, you got to warm up your Stax, and whether it's the static being built up in the transformers here or the static in the headphones themselves, I usually put this on, play music, do things for a half hour, come back and then listen. So again, it's one of those situations where if you want that little bit extra, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Attached wire, and they look like that, but oh my fucking god. The comfort. These ZMF pads, by the way, I will have... Actually, I think I went over it. I gotta just do a pad review. I'm now promising you this here so that I can't skip out on it in the future because I'm not editing this bit out because I hate editing. But yeah, this tape is what I'm using. If you don't think you're ever going to change it and you're happy with it when you're done, you could use this tape. This is actually 1/4 inch. So it's the narrower one. The thicker ones would just be like, oh my god, you'd have to scrape it off with a knife. Same with that glue. That glue is impossible to get off. So once you peel these shit pads off, you're left with really sticky things. You actually put them right against your head if you don't mind that. But oh god. Yeah, basically these are useless things. Oh god, don't let them touch the wire. I'm just going to stick them to each other and throw them away. I hope that went someplace good. 207 Ultras. They now get the designation 207 Ultra. The corners on this particular print pop up a little bit. Just giving you that heads up, because when you try to print a flat 3D plane, it sort of like curls from the heat. So he's fixed it a little bit, and hopefully once this video is released and you could actually go out and buy a set, and I don't know what he wants to charge because they do take quite a bit of material and time to shit out of the machine. The machine just poops them out. But pair of those for X amount of dollars, pair of these for $50. What's another body amongst foundations? Even better than the Stax. Perfect bass. I've done testing with plugging them up. Soundstage actually exists. It pulls that insane, like the detail's still all there, but it's just a little bit further away, and you don't die from it, and they're comfortable, and God bless America. Trump 2016, or anyone but Hillary 2016. No, God, I'm getting political now. Don't start that. We need to build a wall around high spending on headphones. Maybe I'll edit this bit out. I don't know. Tatsumaki.